Previously on Almost Heroes.
We picked up with the group hiding in Doc, the second brother's containment room, waiting to spring our trap on him. When he eventually showed up, he was accompanied by a giant golem made of metal and sewn together flesh. Through clever ruse, Cosmo and Rangrim were able to trap this flesh golem into one of the empty cages. This prompted Doc to call for backup in the form of a much larger and much more blob-like meat golem. Feeling concerned, Doc unleashed a powerful icy necrotic breath weapon on the party that nearly knocked Rangrim and Udak unconscious. Cosmo, using his divine powers, was able to hold the new meat golem in place while we dispatched the unprotected Doc. Upon dying, Doc seemed to crumble apart as if his body had been no more than a hollow husk. With Doc dead, the meat golems had frozen in place, but sensing power in the wizard's staff, we decided to destroy it, which resulted in the meat golems falling apart. With things seemingly quiet for the time being, Rangrim decided to cast Sending to call for aid from Udak's companions, Dozer and Scraps, and then we decided to take a short rest before heading back to the entrance to meet said reinforcements. On the way, however, we came across a Gnoll guard who seemed to be trying to wrangle some control out of the workers. The Gnoll was easily dispatched, but when the mind control workers saw we had attacked the Gnoll, they seemed to become enraged and began to move towards us. And that's where we left off.
Awesome. Thank you, Dan. And with that, that brings us to episode 26, Price of Power. We're going to pick up the Almost Heroes standing in the intersection of tunnels within the Ebendep's mine. You all just killed the Gnoll guard while on your way to meet your reinforcements in the form of Dozer and Scraps. But as you killed the Gnoll, the three mind-controlled workers that seem to be running kind of uncontrolled through this, just back and forth through this tunnel, all kind of seem to stop and becoming like just absolutely enraged and just kind of started moving towards you in a very menacing manner, almost very feral, like crouched over, and their eyes just fully pitch black. And with that being said, what do you all do?
Glenn, once he sees them become kind of enraged and angry, switches the mask over and converts himself into a Gnoll. About 6 feet tall, like one of the dagger Gnolls we saw earlier. Not like not one of the captain, the giant guy, but just like the dagger Gnoll. And he kind of moves himself towards the front of the group, and he says to the people getting a little more feral, he says, "Stop! What are you doing? Stop!" And like holds a hand out to the miner and Boulder Fist and attempts to convince them to stop getting so aggressive.
All right, so yeah, give me a performance check.
Performance? I don't think I've ever rolled that. And for good reason. Oh, no. A natural 20.
Yes!
Fuck. Okay, awesome. So you put your hand out, and these like seemingly just absolutely feral creatures that like are kind of tilting their head and just kind of moving towards you just all freeze. And they just kind of like a look of confusion comes over their faces. And then they just kind of stand up, and then they just kind of begin walking basically further down towards the entrance. And this Boulder Fist guard walks. The Boulder Fist guard seems to walk back into this chamber to your left. That is where the crystalline mushrooms had been.
Okay. So I kind of lean over my shoulder to the guys and drop the Gnoll voice. Like, guys, we might want to move this one carefully. Hostility seems to be exactly what happened with Rangrim before. Just take it slow. We're all friends here, right? And then as soon as I said, they go, "Now hurry the hell up!" And I kick Cosmo and like try to like encourage him to start moving faster towards the door.
The entrance?
Yeah.
Yeah, so are you moving that direction?
Yes.
Okay.
Is Rangrim still leading us?
At this point, I would have probably just taken a seat behind, or actually, if Glenn is as a Gnoll, like telling us to move forward, that's kind of the deal, right? You're just telling us to move down the...
Yeah.
All right, Rangrim's going to go right back, thaumaturgy, black eyeball, and yeah, boss, all right, all right. What, do I talk? I don't. And he's just going to follow Cosmo.
Okay, so Cosmo is leading the way then, down the hallway down towards the entrance.
You don't sound so confident there, Cosmo.
So you hear the just as before, you hear the echoing bangs on what seems like on the front door, and which had prompted a Knoll to like head that direction originally. Cosmo, you start moving towards this hallway, and all of you hear this. There is a sudden wail that rumbles through the tunnels. It's just like, and it is like a visible, like physical force that you feel. The air itself actually seems to like shimmer, and almost as if it's like disrupted some sort of like haze or something in the air. But it rumbles like through the ground and the walls, and like rocks and like dust kind of start falling from the ceiling. It's like this wail of almost like just pain that rumbles and rips through all these tunnels, shaking the entire complex. And with that, you see the worker who's standing here, this miner, seems to like something just wakes it from its stupor. It literally runs directly farther into the tunnel, and you see it collide with one of the poles, like the stalactites sticking out of the floor connected to the ceiling, and just knocks itself completely out. And you hear the movements of the other miner as well, running deeper, further down towards the entrance.
Well, boys, we just need to get them to run into all the walls. We'll be fine.
Right, so we just run around like mad, and Cosmo just goes running down the hall.
Cosmo, you get about 20 feet down that hallway when a second, much louder wail just absolutely tears through this thing. And this is like, you recognize it now. This is like the sound of agony, like a person yelling out in anguish. And it is like a human voice, or like a masculine voice that is just like ripping through this entire complex. And with this second one, it is so much stronger. Though, like this, you can feel this rumble just like ripping through this entire complex. And the ceiling in front of you, in this complex that is not well constructed, just begins to like, you see chunks of pieces of rock begin to fall from the ceiling in this tunnel ahead of you. And it seems to be kind of picking up a little bit stronger and coming back towards your way. So basically, further down that passageway towards the entrance, it seems like the roof is beginning to cave.
Guys, we might need to find a new front door.
I don't think they normally make two front doors. I think that's why it's called the front.
Well, you can lead the way then, Mr. Knoll.
You all are in a situation right now where the tunnel you are halfway down is beginning to collapse and picking up speed as these rocks are falling, and so like they haven't begun. The small ones have are falling over your head right now, but this entire tunnel does not seem to be able to maintain itself much longer.
Well, I guess it's back where we came from. And I start moving my way back kind of towards the middle thoroughfare.
Right, and Cosmo turn around and just starts sprinting the other direction.
Cosmo and Rangrim, as your can you roll me dexterity saving throws?
Yes.
Yep. Rangrim's amazing at those.
+0, I believe.
Yep, so that's a 7.
Well, you get my +4. You're near me.
Oh, that's true, so 11. Haha. Take that, DM.
Dexterity saving throw?
Yeah.
It's a 12.
What was that total, Rangrim?
That would be 11, sir.
11. Okay, so you only take 2 damage, but basically you're kind of pelted as these larger and larger stones are falling from the ceiling, and as you dive out of the way as this tunnel almost completely collapses, you basically do take a couple pings from like rocks falling from the ceiling, but you're able to dive out of the way. But as you're diving out of the way, you just see this miner who has knocked himself out and is laying looking at the ceiling, just like a big rock just goes and completely falls on top of him, and then the rest of the tunnel continues to collapse and fall apart. And basically a big plume of dust shoots out into this main thoroughfare that you are standing in, which rocks have, like, it seems like the complete tunnel has been destabilized. Places against the wall that there were already kind of like rocks that had collected from just like chunks of the wall sliding down, because this place has been not really well designed. It seems like it was kind of haphazardly done by people that don't understand how to mine very strongly. It seems like this place is like there are cracks in the ceiling, there are stalactites that have fallen over. It doesn't seem like this place is very, like, another one of these bursts could take this entire place down, is what you kind of looking at it, especially from Rangrim and Cosmo, understanding how, like, mining underground in tunnels. It seems like this place has been very much destabilized. Can you all roll me an Arcana check?
Yep.
Another nat 20.
Nice.
Okay, let's go. Glenn.
The banished dice came back literally out
Don't
of
worry.
nowhere.
Don't
Great.
worry. That first combat, he's gonna roll 2 nat ones to even
Yeah,
out
right.
the inverse.
Probably. Yeah, he's getting
It's
them out
the
of the way
odds.
now.
For what it's worth, it's a 23.
But yeah, nice.
I also got an 18.
Nice.
I got a 14.
Damn. Those are good rolls.
Yeah. So, Glenn, I'll give you yours first, just because you rolled a nat 20. You like before coming into this place, you were informed that there was a illusion spell that had been cast on the entrance that had given you the depiction that there was something else going on than what actually was visible within this place, and that showing you that it had been some sort of just normal mine and the normal goings on was happening. When both of these rumbles came through, it kind of reverberated off the walls and shimmered the air around you in a way that gives you the feeling that maybe this also there's something going on that is similar to that, has an illusion kind of feel to that.
What do you mean? Sorry, when you say this, you mean like the caves around me, or?
Yes. So like the entire air around you shimmered as almost like a heat haze. Everything around you, the walls, everything. When this whole thing happened, almost as if like a power disturbed it for a very short period of time. Like it was that strong of whatever ripped through this passageway. Rangrim, you get most of that as well. Just pulling on the fact that you also encountered this illusion spell before coming in. Cosmo, you're like, man, this seems familiar. Something about this seems kind of like something I would remember. I can't really put my finger on it, but something.
And he just shrugs it off as if he's been in mines and tunnels all of his life.
Rangrim, looking around, I mean, I feel like you probably sense that too, but it looks like a lot of what we're seeing right now isn't quite what's actually there. Can you maybe shed some light on that? Do you see anything in particular that might be out of place? Maybe a terribly placed wall, or just shoddy craftsmanship? I mean, if you look around, we could fall victim to one of those cave-ins at any moment.
Oh, give me a minute here, and just make sure no more of them nasties and whatnot come down these hallways. And Rangrim takes his shield down and puts it in front of him, and I'm going to cast Detect Magic as a ritual. That's to not burn a spell slot.
Awesome.
So that will take me 5 minutes.
While he does that, Glenn will move to... Sorry, he would position himself. How about down this way, kind of hiding behind this pillar, but keeping an eye down the way that Poe's at still. And Poe is still like being a sound beacon down here. He wouldn't be just in the middle. He'd be like up against a wall.
Yeah. So Rangrim, you cast Detect Magic, and I believe it kind of like does like a pulse that tells you everything that's magical in the area, I believe, right?
Yep, and then if I sense magic in that way, I can see a faint aura around things affected by it, and it can penetrate barriers, just not like, very, very deep stone and metal, etc., etc.
What's the range on it?
30 feet.
This place lights up like a complete, like it literally looks like every single thing around this room is lit up. It is almost like there is some sort of layer covering every single, like it wraps around everything, but it just like lights up. Everything is magic, covering every single facet of this room, almost as like it's if it's been reskinned in this like bright light now that you've cast this Detect Magic. And you get the feeling, I believe you can tell the class of the magic.
Yep, I do know what school of magic it is.
You get very big illusion vibes from this, and also a strong level of necromancy mixed in with that.
Mm-hmm.
As an illusion caster, specifically an illusion caster, would I, with that higher Arcana check, kind of be able to see through it, pierce through it, or can I just see the shimmer?
So, understanding illusions, you also understand the nature of many illusion spells, which is when you are able to determine that they are illusions, they basically cease to affect you. So that if you have come to the conclusion that there is an illusion spell that you're looking at, then you would be able to potentially see past it. Is that what Glenn is doing?
Rangram, that was a real nice ritual there. What'd you learn?
This whole place is fuck all magic, everything. This, that, and he's like picking up rocks, throwing it at the walls. He's like, that's probably not a wall. And he throws a rock at Cosmo. He's like, Cosmo's Cosmo though.
Yeah, okay, perfect. And then now Glenn can see through all of it.
So yes, as you all basically come to the conclusion that a illusion has been placed on this entire room, your vision shifts in a way that is kind of subtle, but also extremely disturbing. The just rough cut stone walls of this place turn into this like dark, and it looks like the remnants of this very decrepit temple. This temple that is like pitch black, and there are these just runes and symbols carved all over the wall. Symbology of Torog and other of the evil creatures of the dark underdark, just these evil gods who no longer walk this earth, as far as you know, but still leave their mark. And inscribed on top of a lot of those places, haphazardly and just around all over, you see carved in blood or written in blood very familiar symbols, one that Cosmo himself drew onto a wall of his own house back in Tin Town. You see the symbol of a hand upside down in red with an eye in the center. It's not on every wall, and it's not in the same places, but it is written around you at least 3 to 4 times in different sizes. And you are surrounded by these symbols in a basically a decrepit and forlorn temple to the crawling king and god of torturing and slavers, Torog. And what do you do?
Walk up to one of the hands and I start to scrape away the symbol. Does it like have any effect on the illusion? Does it seem like it's a place of casting? As a rune of casting?
So as you're scraping it away, it doesn't seem to affect anything of what you're seeing, but it just seems like you're scraping away dried blood that's almost brown at this point. Rangram, you have a pretty high passive perception, but can you roll me a perception check? I think you would be the one to notice this.
That would be a 17, which also happens to be my passive.
So you notice that the knoll that you all killed, that's at your feet, laying on his back, kind of weapons strewn side to side. You notice that the bare chest that is exposed in the center of it, kind of embedded into it, is the same hand symbol that you basically have seen on a couple monsters that came out of the Underdark back in Tin Town.
Oh, geez. Boys, this doesn't, and as Rangram looks around, Glenn's scraping the dried blood sigil off the wall. Rangram grips his hand and falls to the ground, and then uses thaumaturgy to mimic Regalia's voice behind Glenn.
What does she say?
She says, "Hey, big boy."
Glenn immediately draws his double-blade scimitar and swings behind him as hard as he can. Which I think there's a stalactite behind him, so swing for a pillar.
Yeah. Let's see. I'll tell you what the pillar AC is.
It's gonna hit 13 plus 9, so 22 to hit.
So you swing and you hit this pillar, and you are very lucky that your weapon is now magical, because you basically kind of slam it into this stone pillar, taking a little chunk out of it, but it does not do damage to your double-bladed scimitar.
She's here. I can feel it, man.
Rangram is just laughing hysterically. You should have seen your face. I'm just kidding. Or am I? And makes his eye black again. No, I'm just kidding. We probably should not stay here very much longer, though.
Well, I'm glad I'm not the only one with a sense of humor. Rangram, since you seem to be in such high spirits, why don't you pick where we go next?
I'm not in high spirits. I diffuse uncomfortable situations with humor. It's how I cope.
Wow, that was really self-aware.
Oh no, I'm
Dang.
having odd moments
nice.
of clarity. It's the stress.
Well, Cosmo is our fearless leader. Where we head?
Well, I feel like we had good luck down this way where Doc came from. There's a big monster in the water, and we never saw it. And
Well, then do we know that there's a monster in the water?
you think it's
That's
fake?
true.
You want to find out if it's fake?
We could just go get one of those crazy guys and throw them in it.
Brangram's just gonna drag the null corpse over to the water. Well,
I mean, nobody's gonna miss it.
nobody's gonna miss this one. And he's just gonna be like, way ahead of you, and just kind of throw it. Like, he's probably dragging it and goes to like toss it, and it just probably like slumps, like maybe just the null's head in the water as Rangram's just standing there, maybe poking it with like his warhammer, like it's a stick. Like, make it do something.
So you poke this, you toss this knoll body into the water, and it kind of like I think Rangram's pretty strong. You're able to get it out there a good 6 feet at least with a good toss, and it kind of splashes into the water, and it kind of sits there and floats for a minute, and then you see like from further down to the right, you see this kind of wave run the opposite way up the stream, and it just kind of goes underneath this knoll and disappears for a second. And then you see the water rise up and engulf the knoll and kind of hold it aloft for a second. And then it very violently tears it down to the point where you can hear the knoll's back snap as it's torn down underneath the water and completely disappears. And you can just see the splash and ripples kind of rippling.
What did we see, or we just saw the water do that?
Just the water did that.
Well,
yeah, it's nothing in there. It's just more water.
yeah, it's just water, Cosmo. It's not a monster. Everyone's seen rivers and caves do that before.
If
And
you've been
Rangram's
around
just
as long
gonna,
as
like-
I have, you're just going to see so much angry water. It's crazy.
Well, what did we just flip a coin then?
I think
Yep.
that's the move.
Right, that Cosmo takes out a coin. I don't know. Well, wait a minute. You got a coin there, Glenn. Flip it.
I do. I pull out the coin that's been talking to me, and
Nice.
I hold it in my hand just to see if it's going to burn for a minute to get hot.
It does not.
It's a cold one, boys, and I flip it into the air.
It's cold fish. Sweet. Who
Coin lands in
is-
my hand, and I look and it goes. Honestly, I don't think we ever established what was what. So how about we just keep going the way we already went?
That seems fair. That water looks like it sucks.
Well, at least for that guy, it did.
Well-
And do we want to keep up the illusion? Because I'm still a full-size knoll. Or do we want to go back to our stealthy ways and see if we can't sneak our way through? Whoever's yelling out there seems quite upset, and I don't know if they want to necessarily see anybody. So maybe being quiet about this is the way to go.
I like it. You're a no. Rangrim has the black eye thing, and I'll just remain a fake prisoner.
All
Awesome.
right.
That sounds good to me. I can do this thing, and his eyes just going black, not black, black, not black.
That's weird. It's disconcerting.
I'd rather you wink at me.
And he just looks at Cosmo and does that, but in like a winking pattern.
God. Winks, black eye, winks, wide eye.
Yeah.
Just, oh, nice.
Like the lights are going on and off in his head.
Yeah.
Well, guys, then get moving, prisoners, and just kicks Cosmo in the butt again.
All right.
Well then,
Um,
on we go.
Awesome. So, traveling down this hallway, it is. I mean, it's the same
Before
hallway.
we start walking, DM, Poe is going to fly 60 feet in front of us the whole time. He's going to stealthily move 60 feet ahead of us the whole time.
Okay, and I assume you're looking through Poe's eyes.
Don't have to. Poe can communicate back to me if there's like danger. Like
Okay,
we have a
cool.
telepathic connection.
Okay, so I won't. I won't describe. Can you only communicate with him within 60 feet?
No, I think it's 150 feet or something like that. But honestly, just counting 20 tiles and making sure we're on the same path as
True.
Poe is a little tough.
Okay, yes, that's fine. So traveling down this hallway, it's the hallway that you've been down before. I mean, not that it's any of your all's favorite place to be in the world, but it's familiar enough, except for the fact that now it is almost like the walls are like, it's as if they were like, you are getting like absolute dirty venue vibes from like it. The walls are just like almost just black. Like the walls are black, and they have this like symbology of Torog carved into them all over the place. And then overlaid onto them is this like this old brown blood that has made this symbol of the eye hand that you've seen in the past, the red hand. So yeah, as you're going down the hallway, it's a similar experience to before, but it is a little bit different now. And the painted black nature of the ceiling is a little bit it's a little bit disturbed by the fact that there are stones that have fallen from the ceiling and giant cracks that are rent in it now. Also, as you're going deeper down this way, it is like there's almost like a heat coming out of these cracks that you kind of come back to the realization that you are underneath a volcano. There is like a heat coming through these things, not like steam, but there is definitely like this place is heating up now that these cracks have let a little bit more of that air from above in, it seems like.
Is it because there's more cracks as we go in, or is it like it literally seems like it's all shifting and
well, as you're going deeper,
there's just more cracks.
Yeah, so as you're going deeper, also it was always getting hotter as you got deeper down into this. Almost more humid and more just stagnant hot air. But now that these cracks have opened up, it seems like the ambient temperature in this place has gotten hotter.
That's really cool. That's terrifying, but that's really cool. Cool. So Poe, I mean, okay, so how do you want to do this? Because I can't see through Poe's eyes, but Poe can communicate if there's danger. Would I be able to say comfortably this is a safe, like Poe would say like, hey, go ahead and come forward? Like this is like a safe spot?
Yeah, for sure. So I say that Poe can communicate back to you that it seems like there is no one up ahead. It seems like this chamber in between that he's just flown over is relatively, it's pretty bad shape, it seems like. And that there is kind of a bisection of pathways ahead going two different directions.
All right. Well, I guess I'll lead the way. Shall I?
Yeah, please, Cosmo. There's gonna be two routes up ahead of you. We're in the clear for now.
All right. So Cosmo makes his way up, and as he comes to this intersection, he's going to cast his divine sense to detect good and evil, as well as sense anything affected by like hallowed spell. And I know the location of fiends undead within 60 feet.
Okay. Within 60 feet. Okay, so you don't get a sense of any creatures within 60 feet of you that are, except for like there is necrotic energy that you're kind of feeling back from the containment room, where you know that there are still like creatures locked up, basically mind controlled workers that are in those cages. So you get some necrotic energy from that. Some like evil energy is coming from there. In this chamber ahead of you, you can like with your special dwarven eyes that can see underground and in the dark, you see the outlines of this room in like shades of gray, which is what dark vision is. But you see this like workstation, this almost like there's tables and there's this like laboratory situation going on, and like just kind of dark spots of like blood or some sort of other fluid on the ground. But with your sense, you get a couple different things in there light up with just like evil. Like there is necrotic, like just the dark energies coming from that location. And then you also get feelings of that from straight ahead of you, much smaller, much more concentrated. But that is that's what you're kind of getting the feels of.
Okay. All right. But I don't sense any like undead, so I was like,
nope.
Yeah, no, okay. I was like, well, this room here looks clear. Let's take a look around then, shall we? And Cosmo walks into.
Yeah. So you walk into this room and you can pretty much immediately. Oh, I realize I need to grab Udak. And also Tarden, who is absolutely just kind of like kind of walking behind Udak, just kind of peeking out, just. Man, I thought I was going to get out of here. This is terrible. And Udak's kind of bringing up the rear with Tardan behind him. This room automatically gives you the vibes that you were looking for where Doc did his experiments on people and on beings to modify them for labor or for fun or his own purposes. But the ancient white dragonborn husk, I guess, that you slayed previously, this is where that work was done. There is just remnants of modifications of like forlorn limbs and different parts strewn about in a way that is like extremely unsettling. But there's one thing that kind of grabs your attention, and that is kind of there seems to be some sort of assembly of parts on the back wall that is like, it's different than the other things you've seen. There are like the parts of metal and the pieces that you saw attached to like Willy and like to the meat golem that like kind of enhance and give them natural armor. This is almost like, it looks like a forge, Rangrim. It looks like where some sort of large armor was created, but at the same time, there's almost like a laboratory feel to it. Like this is where artificing and necromancy meet, is in this room. And you just get this nasty feeling from this kind of like, what looks like it was used to make a mold. And it's this big empty, there's nothing there now, but you just see the outline against this wall. Think like Han Solo when he came out of Carbonite. It just leaves like the humanoid form of this 7-foot steel form with these like spiked pauldrons and no head that is sitting against the wall, and it's just kind of embedded into it, and it looks like it originally held something that was being created there. And you also see all of these kind of jars that are holding a couple different brains that are sitting on top of the desk to the right. But that is what you see in this pretty heinous and unsettling room.
The brain jars are on the desk, or they're behind the desk, like on shelves?
They're kind of sitting on the desk, and they kind of, as you're looking at them, they don't look healthy. Like they look kind of partially decomposed. Some of the water is not fully like this greenish brackish fluid is not fully like submerging them anymore. And there is a very rancid smell from this room.
Cosmo, smells like your mom's cooking in here. Nah, I'm just kidding. I like hit him on the shoulder. And Glenn walks through to the desk. Do I see any notes, any documentation of the experiments that were being done here?
Yes.
Your experience.
Yeah, roll me an investigation check.
This isn't good.
Rangrim would also be looking, seeing that there was like a forge-like thing in the room, so I would also be assisting Glenn in investigating for notes and things.
Cool.
Sure. I got 24. 18 plus 6.
Awesome. So we'll start with Glenn then. Glenn, you're looking through this desk and kind of like maybe holding your hand up to your nose a little bit as you're getting closer to these brains and just like this absolute rancid smell in this room. And you find this as you're going through the desk, you're finding a lot of just like research paperwork that's going over your head. Like it is a mix of like necromancy and like artificing that is like it's showing how things, it's very like it's a mix of like magic and then also like mechanics that are kind of tied together in this. So like some of it makes sense to you, some of it doesn't. The magic kind of goes over your head sometimes when it's like a school that you haven't studied. Necromancy is probably not something that Glenn has dabbled in very much. But the understanding the way that like artificing and like gears work, because you have dabbled in that by helping your friend Pops by making his little, doodads and whatnot. You do understand that there is this paperwork, and basically there's these like, one of the largest, most kind of advanced things you find is this detailed way of how to create this like iron golem. And the whole point of the iron golem is like, as you're looking at it, it's made in such an intricate way. But the thing that strikes you is there's no like sense of powering it. There's no like power supply in this thing. And they're also, in every drawing that you're seeing, it doesn't have a head. It's headless in every single drawing. But it's this dark steel and just like monstrous, just full suit of armor that is like just completely headless. And that's kind of from your studies of what's going on here. You can just see that, some sort of iron golem was being created. To what purpose, you don't know. And it doesn't seem to be powered by any sort of normal, like warforged means or anything like that. Whatever the intention of this thing is lost to you.
From kind of just reading through the notes and, tinkering and building things in the past, can I find any notes that like kind of point out like a gotcha or like a weak point or like a, maybe something that the designer would have wanted to go back and fix, but maybe didn't have time because of, due dates and deadlines and all that kind of stuff?
Yeah. So a little bit further into the book, it seems that you notice that the writing becomes like very, very hard to read, feverish, but also like more and more illegible. And there's almost like this spattering of like fluid, of like this dark fluid that's on the pages itself. And you see that it almost seems like they were working on a secondary item, and this item was a way of preserving something that was organic, smaller, similar to the jars that are on the desk, and figuring out a way of magically and mechanically preserving an organic life form that was basically not able to sustain itself in a mortal way. And as like the discovery of this seems to have been enough for them to kind of like from that point on, that's kind of the end of this notebook. At that point, it becomes like these arcane scribbles that you no longer can understand. But that is like the last kind of information that you glean from it.
Okay. Glenn would take all of that. Like he would like physically take all the documentation around like artificing and building things and imbuing a life force into like any of the documentation from this like from Doc. He would just be pocketing and trying to take with him.
So I want to get to Rangrim doing his investigation, but first,
sure.
You hear Udak from behind you, Glenn, just say, "What the hell do you think you're doing with that?"
Hey man, a lot of being able to accomplish or being able to crush your enemies, understanding how they work. This is purely information finding. You know me, I wouldn't do anything like this. What they did to you, to other people.
Roll me a persuasion check.
With advantage because I liberated him?
Yes, you get advantage.
Sweet. Natural 15. I don't think I have anything in persuasion. 16 total.
You rolled a natural 1, so yes.
I mean, I'm not lying to him.
He just kind of like, he seems to just kind of like, he looks at you and he looks like directly into your eyes and just kind of nods his head and just kind of doesn't say anything else, but just kind of nods his head and looks away.
Look, maybe in here there's some way to maybe not bring your arms back, but I can at least maybe build you new arms, build you something that's usable. There's knowledge here. You can't just get rid of knowledge. It's wisdom that you know what to do with it, and hopefully you see me somewhat wise.
He continues like nodding his head, and then you see him just kind of like start shaking with anger, and he goes over to the kind of work table, not the one that has the brains on it, and he just kicks it over and just like kicks it against the wall with his full like orc strength and anger, and just seems to like from that point just kind of walks back out of the room. But he just like kicks this thing, the brains shatter, and just like the table kind of cracks against the wall, and then he just kind of puffs out of the room.
Before we go to Rangrim, do I see anything in the room that matches the final object that Doc was trying to make? Like, does it seem like the brains were like prototype versions of this, or do I see like the version that he was shooting for, like aiming for?
I'll say that like around where the brains were on the desk, you saw some kind of mechanics and things of that sort that were similar to some of the drawings you saw in there, and some of the brain prototypes were similar to the drawings you saw in there, but you don't see like a perfect final version or anything like that. But yeah, Rangrim, going over to the wall where you see this kind of like casing, this like indentation of this monstrous armored form. There is a full forge over there, much larger than what you would have expected someone like Doc, frail form like Doc, to be able to handle. And you don't know whether or not he was utilizing maybe the golems to be able to do things like that and to actually do the forging. But there is a full forge over there that has been used to create multitudes of items, whether it was the iron cages, whether it was something of that sort. But you can see that there is scrap metal around of this like black steel and these like riveted studs that are kind of around in that area. Did you have anything in particular that you were looking for?
Well, just any more information on the means to this forging. Like, yeah, more particularly, is there any sort of like unique metals, or is there anything that stands out about the forge itself? You know, if there's somehow like if there's some sort of like magic imbued to whatever is being created off of this.
Yeah, actually, that's a good question. There are
A new
about
genre.
4 bars, Rangram, that are the size of bricks that are stacked up next to this forge. And when you just understanding metallurgy in general, there's like this kind of like opalescent sheen mixed in with the black metal, and you get this feeling like just getting near it that this has some sort of residual magical energy in it. And when you are kind of looking at it, you are the one that created the attachments, the new iron or steel attachments for Udak's arms. And when you originally did a magic check, a detect magic, I believe, in the Ebon Liberation Forces camp, you detected a slight amount of magical energy on the caps that were attached to Udak's hands originally that were created by Doc in this lab. You get that same feeling here. There is a just residual, natural, magical energy within this dark metal. And as you kind of pick them up, Udak, kind of standing over in the corner, goes, "That's what we used to mine out of here. Not those mushrooms. That damn metal."
Well, if it was so valuable to these dicks, I'm just gonna take all 4 bars and throw it in his sack, and he's just gonna look and chuckle to himself, realizing that I still have 3 doorknobs, and he's just gonna put that in there with the his little metal stash, which is mostly doorknobs, and now this
Doorknobs.
cool metal.
I like dark steel. I'm gonna go with dark steel. I really like that name.
I like that too.
But
Awesome.
we'll find a place to put in Residoom.
Rezadoom.
Doom.
Awesome. This is like this unnatural mixture of like forging and artificing and necromancy in this place. That is just like an unholy trio there of those 3 things.
Lovely. So yeah, I would definitely take any of the remaining dark steel that I could find, and after conversing with Udak, tell the other guys that, I think this is what they was using to make all the other guys' bits. How Udak's like a Swiss Army knife now, with his hands and then knives sometimes, and I think he said he had a shovel once on his hand or something.
What is Swiss?
It's a place in Underdog.
Oh, never been there. Gotcha.
So yeah, it's Swiss land.
I've never heard
writing
of their,
that down now.
Never heard of their army. I
it's
hate to run into it if it's all a bunch of blade arms and shovels.
No, it's a bunch of neutral deep gnomes, and they make knives and hot chocolate.
Right. I have seen some of their tools in my mining days.
Yeah, make great tools. Really, really good stuff. Canon. That's canon now.
That's 100% canon. There's no army like the Swiss army.
Are you telling me there's a group of underground dwarves who make fine tools and give hot chocolate?
No, they weren't dwarves. They weren't dwarves.
Deep gnomes. Come on, they're not dwarves.
You're right. There's no such thing as a nice dwarf. You're right. My bad. Well, I think we might have found our place to hole up and get some rest. I mean, I don't know about you guys, but I'm pretty beat. We might be able to barricade ourselves with these doors and cages, or these tables and cages, and hold up for the night. What do you think?
Well, we can certainly
Or the
try.
day. I don't even know what time it is.
We need to go in shifts for sure. This is yeah, why not? And Random's just gonna like tip a bookcase over, or like the closest thing to the door, to try and block that hallway.
So, I mean, the hallway's pretty big. I will say that where you're currently at is going to be hard to. There's not a lot of items in this room. Most of the things are either attached to the wall, and the one table has been destroyed. There's like basically one table left, and it's not going to be enough to be able to block this doorway off, at least in this chamber.
Well,
I see 10-foot tables and a 20-foot gap, according to the squares. And I see cages, and I see shenanigans.
Rangrim pushes this table up into the empty hallway, and then it just kind of falls out into the hallway and just kind of smashes to the ground.
Well,
almost hitting Tardan. Hey, man, watch out!
Oh, I didn't see you there. Steven, where did we find him again? And then just going to walk into the room.
Well,
Yeah.
we could,
well, if these tables don't seem to fit this hallway, we could venture down a tad bit more and see what we find, or we could try and hunker down here.
remembering the map that we got from Gerd, I think this was Doc's workshop, and considering what we just saw of Doc, I don't think he's going to be coming back. I think
What?
we find a good place of any to hunker down, but like Rangrim said, we got to go in shifts.
Well, I know that there's at least no undead creatures another 60 feet down if you wanted to have a look. Or we could just hunker down and see what happens. I
don't think we press our luck, and I think we sit here. What do you think, Rangrim?
We can at least try, and at least we know our backs are against the wall, and anything that's going to kill us is coming that way. From the door that's there, the opening.
We will be fighting out of a choke point.
Yeah, we'll be fine.
We'll be able to funnel them all into one spot if it is mass groups. Tardan, how many people have you killed in your life?
Killed?
Murdered. Taken to life.
Is that something that you count in more than a single digit?
I mean,
Cosmo's his number just for smushing heads is like
3. Mate, it's 3.
3.
It's 3.
That's a big number. That's just head smashes.
Pretty sure that's the highest Rangrim's ever counted.
As if they are a cartoon, you watch the color drain from Tardan, and they just kind of look completely pale, and their pants look a little bit wet.
Well, you think that's gross? There's one time we fought this guy on a bridge, and I choked him so much that his neck broke, and he was just flopping around all weird like.
Well, maybe Tartan's a fast runner and he can get away, because otherwise it's going to be Battle of the Bulge, or we're going to get some sleep. So
right, while you off is just out there showing off your hands, I'm gonna go over here and set up my sack and have a nap. It just seemed a little less bloody over here.
There's less guts on the floor.
Fair.
Yeah, I'm happy to take first watch. I know I don't have to sleep as long as you guys. Just need a little bit of time to get some shut eye, but I also do that with my eyes open. So who really knows? I'm happy to take first watch.
All right, that sounds fair to me. And then we can both watch you while you're Do you sleep? You kind of just sit there.
It's a lot of meditation and picturing sleeping, and by the time I actually fall asleep, I'm already done. So what's the point? I've already gotten the benefit from it.
That sounds like a lot of work.
It just sounds like no fun at all.
It's pretty great.
Rangrim's just wrapping himself up in that gross cloak that he's still wearing. That was just the top of a tent, putting it over his head and hunkering down behind this table in the back here.
Arden, you and I are going to take first watch. I'm going to need you to keep an eye out with me. You seem perceptive and terrified at all times, so I imagine you're going to be a good source of finding out what's happening.
I don't think I could sleep even if I tried, to be honest.
Perfect. You're just like me. I'm going to send Poe just a little bit down the hallway to keep an eye down. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wait,
so
I'm in the wall, somewhere in between those two.
Yeah. He has no clip on, so he can go right into the wall.
Yeah.
So he goes a little bit further down the wall, or down the hallway, down the wall and hallway, the wallway. He goes a little bit further down, and you see that there is some sort of. It's been it's something that has been structured there. It is a wall made out of metal that is been kind of resurrected in this hallway, blocking it off, and there is a small steel door that is closing it off. Is what you're seeing at the end of this hallway.
As the guys are kind of drifting off to sleep, be like, well, I'm glad we didn't go farther down the hallway because there's a door right there. But good night. And Glenn's gonna position himself. Glenn's gonna position himself here and hide. Sorry. Yeah, Glenn's gonna position himself over here actually and hide and keep an eye on the opening and this way.
Okay.
And Poe's gonna watch down this hallway. But while I'm kind of keeping guard, Glenn would look to Tardan and say, Tardan, I don't necessarily need you going out there because, again, you seem to scream a lot, but just kind of hunker down. And if you see me start to move swiftly with any type of purpose, it might be a good idea to quietly wake up the guys.
He takes refuge behind this rock outcropping here. Being a halfling is already very small, so just kind of like throws his hood over his head and just kind of sits back behind me. And goes, "Yeah, I'll be here.
Shh. Good. Silence. Silence is key.
I'll be here."
And I'm gonna roll for stealth because I don't want to die. Wow, that's really high. Natural 17. I think I have a plus 11, so 28.
Yeah, you are the wall.
Yeah, 28.
You and Poe are no clip into the wall.
We are darkness.
You are the darkness.
And we
I was
begin our
born
watch.
in the darkness.
It's like a southern Bane. Yeah, we begin our watch.
Yeah. Sweet. Yeah, just roll me a perception check.
I'm so scared. Do I have advantage because Poe's also perceiving things?
Sure.
Cool. It's probably good. That's cocked. That's really good. 18 total. Got a 2, and then with Poe, I got a 12.
You don't see anything come down this hallway. You hear just like ambient rumblings. You don't know whether it's just this place kind of shifting and settling now that it's been kind of destabilized. And from time to time, you swear you hear just like a wail, just like just kind of like a distant sound of like agony that accompanies these rumbles. But aside from that, and the foreboding feeling that leaves in you, you basically go these 6 hours unmolested.
I walk over to Cosmo and kind of wake him up, shake him awake, be like, "Hey, it's time for me to hunker down. It's your guys' watch. Poe's still going to be there for you.
Right.
He'll keep an eye on the hallway, but it's your guys' turn." And I'm just kind of trade spots with Cosmo.
Rangram would take to the head of the cave opening, kind of on this left-hand corner, keeping his eyes more down to the direction where Poe is.
Okay. Yeah. So you're gonna move down this way a little bit more towards Poe, or you're just gonna keep an eye out that way. Cool.
Yeah, and more importantly, I can click that long rest button.
Yeah.
Okay, I feels better now.
Back to being superheroes again. Yeah. So if there's anything you want to do during your 4 hours while Glenn takes his short siesta, otherwise you guys can just roll your perception checks. One for each of you.
Rangram is going to be, while he's like keeping an eye out, I would be inspecting that dark steel that I got a little bit further, as well as I had them kind of ramshackled together. But the first session we had when we entered the mines, I did stick 2 of those big necrotic glowy mushroom gems into the manacles.
You did.
With the intention of basically making it like a bolonaire.
What's that?
The ones that you spin with the 2 weights on either side to try and like
tripping people.
Oh, cool.
people's ups.
Yeah.
So I'm tinkering with that and inspecting the dark steel while keeping an eye out in that direction.
Are you okay? I was gonna say I didn't know if you were lighting the forge up that's in this room and actually doing some real forging.
No. I'm really gonna be intent on making sure Glenn can actually rest and watching the hallway, and while I'm just like goofing off with this weird thing I'm making.
Cool. Yeah. Roll me roll me a d20, just up and down.
That's a 6.
Okay. You're messing around with these things. You don't make much headway with them. But if you want to roll me your perception check right now.
I think Cosmo's awake too, right?
Right now.
Yeah, for sure.
But Cosmo's awake.
Right now.
Right now.
Luckily for me, my perception is good. So that is a 15.
Okay. Cosmo, what did you roll?
I rolled a 14.
Okay. I'll say that you all feel the distant rumblings that you would probably just like being used to the Underdark and Underdark passageways, or just like underground passageways, like definitely like gives you a feeling of foreboding. You don't hear any kind of wails or anything of that sort, but you definitely just kind of, you're like, this is not a chill place to be. Like I do not want to be, as people that are as comfortable underground as you both are, being underground in a place that doesn't seem stable is not chill.
As we start to hear rumblings, Cosmo would cast his divine sense again to see if there were any undead fiend with like creatures within 60 feet of us.
Yeah. So you don't get aside from just like there's no undead creatures within 60 feet of you. I'll tell you that straight up. You get the same feeling. You're in a very similar spot that you cast it last time. So and there's very like thick walls between anywhere around you. So I which it can't penetrate. So you don't really get anything else. You just get the same kind of like ambient evil energies from this very evil room.
Perfect. Evil room. Got it.
Ambient evil energy in an evil room. Sounds great.
It's a great place.
This is a great place to make a snack. And he starts whipping up a little cooking fire, and he's heating up some of his mom's knapsack meals.
Pull a couple of the table legs off that table that Udak kicked against the wall, and just start making a little fire with it.
But it's just a little cooking fire. We just got a little pot.
I swear you're half hobbit, half dwarf from time to time. Need second breakfast. But yeah, awesome. Yeah, so I'll say that you're able to get through your 4 hours, your shorter watch without any problem. And yeah, you all had a long rest. Congratulations.
We did it.
Wonderful. All right.
I feel great.
Now that we got all this taken care of, Glenn, you looked a bit bloody back there when that first go around, bud. So he's just gonna put his hand on his shoulder, or about as high up as I can reach. It's probably like awkwardly on his chest. And I'm gonna use.
You're gonna cast that? Oh, okay.
I'm gonna use my blessing of the forge to give his here. It's like a leather hide armor, right? It's +1.
Oh, tight.
So you get a +1 to your AC until my next long rest.
That's awesome. Yeah, your armor just kind of like flashes and is imbued with this energy.
As my eyes are awake and I'm meditating, looking at Cosmo making food, I blink and I go, it smells great. Is there enough for all of us?
Well, I mean, I didn't think you want some of me mom's dwarven stew. It's, but sure.
It's only tried to kill me once, and I take a cup of it and I eat it.
I didn't think you liked lizards.
It's grown on me. I spent so much time with you guys. I've eaten more DOS dogs than I like to admit. I feel like it's really starting to just be part of the cuisine that I look for these days. Just nothing else has flavor,
You get well, for one thing, I'm going to need you to do a Constitution saving throw if you're going to eat it, but
16.
Okay. You get the spoon into your mouth and kind of close it around it and like get that flavor that you just don't savor for in your mouth. And you kind of look up and you see Chandrell leaning against the wall and goes, "I wouldn't do that if I were you."
I just kind of like start to like choke it out. It's like it's a compliment to them. And I just like force it down.
I was watching him make it, and the things that went into it, no Valinar should be eating that.
Chandra, I don't even know what I am anymore. And I just like finished the cup. And it was like, don't be ashamed of me. I'm just trying to make friends. Just like choking back.
And we can't see Chandrell, right? I can't see.
You cannot see her now. She's standing like directly kind of behind Cosmo, leaning against the wall.
Yeah, and I'm like, I imagine there's like a telepathic conversation that's happening. Like it's not like me saying this over Cosmo's head.
True. For anyone who's new here, Chandrell is Glenn's patron ancestor who lives in his double-weighted scimitar.
It's my homie. Chandrell, since you're here, we got quite the group ahead of us. Seems like we're gonna be taking down whatever the hell came out of that. And I just like kind of shoot my thumbs towards the mold armor-looking thing.
She walks over to it and kind of goes over and runs her spectral hand over basically this mold for this iron, this like metal figure. And goes, "This seems to be quite over the adversary. I believe this could be good training. I wish that I myself could join you. There is quite a lot of evil in this space. I'm sure you're aware, but there's still more to meets the eye than you all might know. I have a feeling that more forms have been sent to the astral plane from this place than is natural."
Well, that's horrendously foreboding coming from you, but I have a feeling that we're about to send 1 or 2 dozen more Does this remind you of any of your trials that you faced? Any of your battles? I mean, you took on the great orcs. They were about this size.
From the looks of this place, it seems like the ones you'll be sending to the astral plane might have already been there before and might have been called back.
That's not good. Okay, I've seen something similar in the past. We just kind of ran by them before. I don't know if we can necessarily kind of like burn this whole mountain to the ground like we did before. Any suggestions as to how we might be able to dispatch them a little bit quicker?
I don't suppose you can rely on your comp assaults for this one.
They're pretty good. I can hurt and heal somebody all in one sentence.
It seems that, and she's looking around at your two holy companions and goes, seems like you're pretty well equipped to handle the undead.
Well, all right, I'll relay those kind words to them, and hopefully we can find a means of taking down whatever the hell came out of that thing.
One thing to take away from this, I guess, if you're looking for a lesson is, you never want to rely on those around you to a fault, where you weaken yourself in doing so, but sometimes there's strength in that.
Good to know. Thank you, Chandro. See you in a little bit.
And she disappears.
Well,
you
boys.
feel that warmth in your double-weighted scimitar.
Well, boys, it's looks like it's your turn or your time to shine. Just kind of stands up and pats Cosmo on the shoulder, says like, "Thanks for the stew." Walks over to Rangrim and kind of pats him on the back, like, "Let's go see if we can't find your daughter," and starts walking out the hallway.
What, my daughter's here? Well, I'm already confused, and he just follows Glenn.
And get to the hallway, I guess. Just the door look any different from when last time I saw it with Poe?
It does not. It's a just black steel wall. It has these metal riveted spikes sticking off it, and has that same symbology of Torog actually etched into the wall itself. And the door just has a massive, it's riveted with spikes all the way around it in absolutely death metal aesthetic of this place. And just in blood directly on the door is again that symbol of the eye in the hand.
I look back to Udak. Udak, does this look familiar to you? Do you remember this door? More importantly, is this the only door?
I remember this door.
Is it a front door?
That leads. It's not a door.
The front door.
It's not the door I've ever been in, but I know that was Alton's chambers.
Oh.
Right.
And not trying to look scared, Glenn takes a step behind Cosmo very slowly. It's like, oh, I see. It's back here now.
Okay. Well, I guess, I'll go knock on it.
Are you walking up to the door?
Sure, but I wasn't actually going to knock on it.
Oh my god!
I'm not going to stop you.
But I do start to walk up to the door. Yes.
Oh my goodness.
Roll me a dexterity saving. Roll me a dexterity saving throw.
Oh,
dude, if they had my heart rate monitor, it just spiked so hard when he said that. I just walk up to the door and knock on it.
Dexterity saving throw. It's a 17.
You feel the tile that is in front of you that you step onto. You feel it give a little bit, and 3 of the rivets on the wall, the spiked rivets, shoot out directly at you and go whipping past your shoulder, and just kind of narrowly miss Glenn, as well as these things just kind of break against they actually kind of just hit the wall and ping off of them across the floor.
They were darts? So you said, sorry.
Spikes, metal spikes that are about this long and about that big around, shoot that basically the whole wall in front of you is just covered in metal spikes. And they shoot off the wall when he stepped on a tile on the floor.
Right. Well, I guess they're not taking guests right now, boys.
I mean, you didn't call ahead. That's just that's common courtesy.
I feel like what are they called? Jehovah's Witnesses? I feel like anytime they show up, it's just spike walls. Maybe Cosmo, you let me go ahead and clear the way for traps.
Morden's Witnesses.
Yeah, there it is. Morden's Witnesses. That's canon. I'm writing that one down.
Me and Cosmo doing that from now on. That's canon.
Right. I was just here to tell you about Morden.
Our
you
Lord
heard
and
the good
Savior.
news?
Ugh.
Uh, so as I see like Cosmo step onto a plate, I'm gonna like grab his. We'll like walk up to him. Don't move, Cosmo, and I kind of grab like the back of his
Right. Yes.
armor, pull him
Your
back.
foot's just hovering above the ground now at this point. You were about to step on a second plate.
Yeah, I just like grab it, pull him back.
The long metal darts were a dead giveaway. But
Yeah,
I
you
wasn't
think we
going
would
to.
have noticed those?
But you know, it's just they were over my head.
While we why don't I take a minute to see if any of these tiles are actually safe to walk on, and from here, actually no, I'm gonna kind of pull Cosmo over in front of me still, but like off to the side, off to the wall, and then with my mage hand, I'm gonna reach out and kind of like track the tiles and see if they start to give way, like they're pressure plates with my mage hand, and I'm gonna do that 10. I think I have 10 feet or maybe 30 feet. Hold on, I can't remember how far it goes.
Roll me an investigation.
Mage. Yeah, so I would have 30 feet of distance to check the tiles with my
Sweet.
mage hand.
But that's
Just
no.
roll me an investigation.
Well, this is no fun. I just wanted to play hopscotch up the whole way.
Holy shit, my dice are on fire tonight. That is another natural 20.
What?
Fuck.
That is 3 natural 20s tonight.
You know, that does mean...
This is the
we're gonna
dice that
get
I
into-
banished and just randomly appeared.
Right.
We're going to get into combat, and you're going to roll bricks.
It's crazy. I'm not going to be here next week. It's not. It's just... just avoid it.
It's like it really wanted to come back to you, and it's apologizing your dice.
Yeah,
At this point.
right.
It's literally trying to work its way back into my good graces.
1, 2,
what you
3,
did.
4, 5, 6. Perfect distance to be able to within 30 feet. You are able to pick a path across this floor that kind of moves in a diagonal angle, but it basically goes kind of like against the sidewall at a diagonal angle, and then kind of goes back in. So from where Cosmo is at, it kind of goes diagonally to the wall to your left, and then at a diagonal back to the right, and then the doorway right in front of it is safe as well. But during the time that you're figuring that out, you all are kind of ducking down as you're activating these tiles that are just shooting these things like crazy, just pinging off the wall, and probably activate a good 6 to 7 tiles. Now there's just like these metal porcupine spines that are kind of scattered around the ground around where this the bend in the tunnel is.
Hey, Rangram, those might be worth turning into doorknobs.
Oh, that's a very good point, Glenn. And I'm just going to try yanking one loose.
So I'll say that, yeah, I mean, there's just laying like pitons almost laying on the ground all over the place of this dark steel. And I'll say you're able to pick up about 18 of them.
18.
Is it dark steel? Is it like the same dark steel, or is it like just dark steel?
It's the same dark steel.
Ooh, boy.
No hyphen there. It is dark steel.
Nice. I'll add that to the collection of the regular pitons I have.
Yeah. I would say that as far as weight goes too, I would just look at how much a piton weighs, and it's probably about that.
Okay.
Went flying through the wall.
Okay. Yeah, so this right here, so basically that right there is safe. And so like basically a diagonal angle from Cosmo to the left to the wall, like I guess to the north right there exactly, and then diagonal back, and then exactly, and then straight forward is the safe path. So you all are able to follow that. The door in front of you, Glenn, has a very heavy lock on this steel door, and it doesn't seem like there's a single doorknob on it.
Well, shit.
It's unfortunately for Rangriff.
Hold on. It's just a lock. It's just like a keyhole to it.
Yes, there is a what looks like the most complicated lock you've ever seen. It's like this something that was designed by an artificer.
Okay, I would like to first check it for traps of both the mechanical and, since it's an artificer, the arcana type. Is there any bad juju coming off of it?
Okay. Do a bad juju check.
Bad juju check, go. Oh, there it is. There's the rolls. That's a 6 for an arcana check. So I'm guessing I get nothing from it. You let me high and dry there.
I was waiting for your second roll. I'll say that with the 6.
Oh, what would the second roll be? For sleight of hand?
Sleight of hand or detecting traps, I guess, if you're trying to.
Oh, okay, so investigation probably.
Yeah, investigation.
That's not really that good. That's great. Dirty 20.
Okay.
Dirty 20 for mechanical, a 6 for magical.
Okay. with the 6, you feel like this thing has some sort of magical affiliation, like, but you don't know whether that's just magically strengthening it or magically like there's a trap on this door. You don't really know. From a structural makeup, having studied with pops and like understanding how like artificers create small things and very intricate workings, like this is a very very like just extremely complicated lock. And you probably know that the inner workings of this lock probably are encompassing the entire door. They're probably the entire thing is a lock.
That's cool. So it's almost like a vault door.
Yes.
That's sick. Fuck it. So I'm going to, with my earwig, I'm going to place him on my ear closest to the door, and I'm going to place my ear to the door with the earwig heightening all the sounds. And I'm going to try to pick this lock and like try to listen for the tumblers and use this like heightened sense of audio that's coming through the earwig. Does that give me advantage, or am I just straight rolling?
Roll with advantage.
Tight. Natural 13, but plus 11 for sleight of hand, so 24.
Yes. So you are. How are you picking this lock?
I would be using, so like I'd be pressed up against. My hands would be on the door. I'd be pressed up against it, but then my mage hand would be floating like right around where the lock is, and the mage hand would be actually doing all the work. But I'm just like listening for it as carefully as possible.
Okay. So you're messing around with this lock, and you're understanding, like you're getting, and as you're messing around with it, you're like, okay, I understand like what this does, and I understand what this does, and you're starting to like disassemble this lock and its tumblers, and you're like, it is a very complex thing, and you're very lucky that you've studied with pops, because like you are able to like kind of teach yourself on the fly this lock that is made in this way that you've never like encountered before. And right as you're unlocking it, like you feel this last thing like click into place, and you can feel like you get this like feeling of elation, and then you get a feeling of absolute terror as you see the darkness of this door just become even more pitch black, and it just kind of condenses around Glenn. Glenn, make me a dexterity saving throw.
Dexterity saving throw.
You really wanted to roll up that new character, huh?
Yeah. Really want to play a genie sorcerer. Dexterity saving throw? Oh, that's not bad. 24.
24.
16
Glenn,
plus 8.
Glenn, you feel this like just absolute, like your life force is being sucked into this darkness as you are able to pull your hand away. Like you feel like the life force being pulled through your hand. Like it's almost like this green life energy being pulled out of you as you jump back onto this space, like one space away from the door. And I need you to scoop up just a bit of damage for me as your life energy is being taken away.
Did I unlock the door?
1 second.
Kinda.
All that matters.
So you take 28 points of damage.
28.
Woof.
Did you fail
and
that save?
No, he
know.
made it.
Oh my
He made
God.
the save. And your max HP is lowered by 10.
Well, you guys are fighting by yourself. Have fun.
And with that, the door, this blackness in the door seems to like disperse, and the door just goes and opens up. And you are looking into a very dark room.
Take a step back to one of the safe tiles. I'm like, boys, you're gonna have to take the rest of this one. I'm fucking tapped. And just kind of takes a knee and just waits for them to pass.
You're not getting out of this one. That AZ elf, and Rangrim's gonna, when he walks by, and he kind of slaps him on the back of the head. And I'm gonna cast Cure Wounds at 2nd level. 2d8 plus 4. There's an 8.
Damn.
And a 6, so 14, 18
Damn.
HP back.
Nice.
I feel great. That actually brought me back to my new full health.
Which, by the way, that does go away with a long rest, just so you know.
I figured as much.
Are you all going into the room?
Fuck no.
Yeah, I'm going right. Rangrim's gonna, right after he taps Glenn on the shoulder, getting out of this one, that exit, and he would make his way past Glenn into the spooky death room.
I'll join you into the spooky death room.
Yeah, I want to be careful. There's a lot of death magic in there.
Right. Well, I'll just bring a light.
So,
Go like that.
so you walk into this. Both of you walk into this room that is very small, and it immediately is kind of very different than the rest of these rooms in this place. It is immaculately clean, almost like think a demo room for like a place or whatever. Like, but it's just covered in dust in a way that you don't think someone's been in here in a very long time. But it is just a small bedroom with a bookcase and a little desk, and just kind of like a little wooden walkway area on one side, and then just a bed and just a very small bedroom, and that's kind of what you're looking at.
Is it safe in there?
I'm not really too sure. I'm confused. What is happening
Here, and Rangrim starts investigating the room, but like I'm tossing it. I'm flipping the mattress over and looking for stuff. He's a little aggravated that this room is like so tidy. I know you said it's like dusty,
Yeah.
but he's very confused on why there's this like tidy little bedroom that just shot death out that other door. It's like there's a very big spooky door for this really common room, and he's tossing the joint.
So you're kind of just tossing this place apart, and you knock, you're like throwing open the wardrobe, and it's just full of these like old kind of like very not moth eaten, because moths wouldn't really be down here, but they're just like these really kind of disintegratingly old clothes. There are robes in here that seem to have symbology of Torog, and as you're kind of like throwing the bed covers off, you don't really find anything in the bed, but you kind of like are shuffling around on the desk and knock the desk over, and this black journal kind of goes bouncing across the floor and falls kind of open on the ground.
Well, that looks like something I'd look to find in a spooky death room. I'm just gonna open it. Can I read it? Do I know what language it's in?
It's in Common. I know that Rangrim is not the most adept at Common.
I can read Common, just not very well.
Okay.
I'll have you know.
I can read it if you like.
No, hold on. Let me try it.
All right, you could try first.
Necromancy. I don't know. I'm just making up words. Here you go.
Right. Okay.
So, you pick up this journal, and just from like looking through it, you can tell that it is owned by someone that goes by Alton One Eye. And Alton One Eye, you're reading through this journal, and it's talking about their humble temple to the god of Torog. And it's kind of told in this very unsettling way, which is like, it's talking about these really what you would perceive to be evil things, but in a very different light. It's someone who just like is going about their day-to-day life in like a temple or whatever, doing these like very gnarly things, but it is being told in a way like it's just someone who just it's very normal to them. And you're reading through this thing, and you're getting this like, it's talking about these him and his brothers in Torah, and you're going through this like log of time, and you start getting to the point, and you're looking at the date, which is approaching the Sundering. And the Sundering, as you get to that date, things seem to start happening in a negative way for Alton and his brothers. With the fall of Torog and the death of the gods during the Sundering, the temple collapsed and sealed itself with them inside. And as you're reading through this, you're going through this. You're going through this much more harrowing journey of these three that were trapped in here, and what kind of even more gnarly things they did to survive. The cannibalism, the everything that encapsulated them being in here and trapped in here for a very long period of time, to the point of which there was almost no other option for them. They were at the point where they were going to pass away from this. Their god Torog had forsaken them completely. There was no hope for them at all. And that was at that point that the brother Doc, utilizing his knowledge of artificing and necromancy, was able to basically keep himself from fully disintegrating and dying, was able to encapsulate his soul within his withering form to maintain a level of sanity and a presence on the mortal plane without fully passing away, losing a bit of himself over time as he was. And this is kind of mimicked by and talked about within the journal from Alton, who laments the loss of what was his brother over the course of this transformation. But as things kind of progressed more and more, and the ability for them to escape and the impending doom of Willie and Alton seemed more and more imminent, the husk, the form of Doc, began developing these alternative ways to keep his brothers alive as well, ways to maintain the organic natures of them while sacrificing the physical forms, creating new bodies, new ways to maintain them. And this is kind of where it comes to an end. This just like this hopeful nature, this like scribbling, this like absolutely almost mad at this point, frantic, and just last hope that Doc would find a way to save him and his brother. And that is where the journal ends.
Damn, that's heavy.
Well, so we got some info about those, the brothers there, right? Cosmo, you got all that, right?
Right, yep, yep, it's all this. It's all there.
All right, wonderful. It seems like a really big door for this little room, and I still can't believe there's nothing else here, and I'm just like smashing the desk.
I was gonna say, it sounds like Alton might be looking for a way out at this point. We might be doing him a favor if we put him out of his misery. We might not necessarily need to turn this into a fight. We might be able to make this a mercy killing.
I'd like that.
Rangram stops for a moment from smashing the desk and just goes, "Yeah, Cosmo loves mercy killings, right?"
Hey, if it's anything like that statue we saw over there, it's only going to be the head that's left, right?
Oh no, Cosmo can't hit it. It's
What?
got no head. How's he gonna kill it?
Oh,
Might be the only thing that's real.
Oh, then Cosmo's the only one that can kill it. He's but the best head smasher I've ever met.
Roll me, Rangram, since you're continuing to destroy this room, roll me an investigation check.
Cosmo will now also continue to less destructively investigate this room that he has
That
made.
would be a 19 for my investigation.
Sick.
That's the highest I've rolled this whole campaign for investigation, I'll have you know.
I've got an 18, but
Okay, I'll give you a little consolation prize for the near death of Glenn. You go over to this kind of chest in the corner, and you very Zelda-like, or I guess Link-like, kick this thing, and it pops open. And settled onto the moldering remains of a bunch of clothes, there seems to be a scroll.
Ooh. Well, I got something,
it's a thing.
and yeah, and I'm
What's it say?
The scroll
I don't know.
The scroll seems to be almost, as you pick it up, like there's almost like this mist that is coming off of the scroll, like just like this ambient slight amount of mist that's coming off of the rolled parchment.
Is it hot? It's steaming.
It's not hot.
Nope, it's not.
Right. Okay.
Would you like to touch it?
Yeah.
It's quite cool.
Let me touch it.
Then I'm just gonna nope and put it in my pocket.
And he just Cosmo reaches to grab it.
Do you want to do a sleight of hand to try to snatch it?
Sure. Sleight of hand. 30-20.
Oh shit.
Oh, shit.
Go for it, Rangram.
Oh, that's wicked cocked. Come on. That was gonna be a nat 20.
Oh no!
Ah, it's a 19.
I'll say you both kind of end up with it, and you're kind of holding on to it, and then at that point, you're both kind of like, who's going to let go of it? Rangram, you can feel your grip slipping a little bit. What do you do, Cosmo? Rangram?
I'm staring at Cosmo, and I cast Thaumaturgy, and I use his mother's voice from behind him. And she's just like, you know, like when your parents would yell at you when the streetlights would come on from your front porch, like full name. I don't know what Cosmo's middle name is, but she's using the middle name like she is pissed he is not home for dinner.
Cosmo, roll again with disadvantage.
Roll what?
Sleight of hand.
Oh, roll a sleight of hand.
Or actually, sorry, strength check. So roll athletics with disadvantage.
Athletics with disadvantage. Okay. All right.
Because at this point, you've grabbed it. You're pulling now at this point.
Okay, so it's a 15.
Oh, I'm sorry. What was I rolling against Ian? I'm sorry.
Athletics. Not with disadvantage.
Natural 20.
Cosmo, you hear your mother's voice over your shoulder. You're like, what the? And you like let your grip slips just enough where Rangrim's able to snatch it out and put it in his back pocket.
Haha, my funny paper, and I boop him in the forehead with it as I make my way back to the door.
Rangrim, you boop your buddy on the forehead and walk to the door, kind of like chuckling to yourself, happy that you've just done this. And you're looking past out through the door, and standing in the center of the hallway is probably one of the forms that you would least like to see in this place. It is a form that you've only seen a couple times, but only you yourself have been able to see it. And you see the spectral blue form of that mind flayer that you have seen in the past, the same one that gave you the symbol on your hand, standing at the end of this hallway.
Well, shit.
And he just looks at you and goes, "It's amazing what mortals will sacrifice for a bit of power. Isn't that right, Rangrim?" And that is where we're going to end the episode tonight.
And we're going to do Rangrim again.
I'm gonna have to do it by myself again.